I'll quickly introduce Travis.
Okay.
Travis is kind of, well, not kind of, he is a legend in this space. He pioneered a lot of what it means to sell stuff online. And when he started a company called Kajabi in 2010, really what he was trying to do was he just wanted to help people sell knowledge online. He thinks that a lot of people have, even if you're not like Tony Robbins, you still have something valuable to share. Everybody has some sort of expertise, knowledge, or gift. And he noticed that people couldn't sell these online. People were selling a lot of other products. People were selling Beanie Babies on eBay, but there wasn't really any way for normal people to sell knowledge online. He saw this gap, and he spent the next decade of his life making sure that people could sell it online and making money. And we always looked up to him and Kajabi as sort of a role model for what we were trying to do with Pickaxe, which we're still honestly kind of discovering exactly what we want to do and how we're going to help people with Pickaxe. So we always kind of looked up to him as an example. One day I thought, well, hell, why don't we just reach out to the guy, right? And we did. And he was kind enough to get on the phone with us multiple times for an hour and just kind of encourage us through some pretty difficult moments with the company and all sorts of stuff. So, Travis, maybe you want to just quickly.
Yeah. No, I think it's great. First of all, I love Pickaxe. I love the tool. I use it myself. I love this team. This little startup team right here is pretty solid. If you're already a customer, you're witnessing the beginning of something great. And us as entrepreneurs, which a lot of you on this call probably are, it's really fun to be inside. Like I watch the show every year on HBO, Hard Knocks, the behind the scenes of training camp and football. And this is it for business right now. These are three young guys that are building a SaaS, and their background is awesome. And the way they discovered the tool is awesome. And I love that Mike just cold called me through LinkedIn. In fact, I encourage anybody, if you have a startup or a business, you want some advice, and you ping me, there's a good chance I'll reply to you. And if you're not selling me anything and you're a genuine entrepreneur, I'll get on a call because I love it. It energizes me, and you never know. Like I think our first call, Mike, we weren't really sure. You obviously had some really cool visions of Kajabi, which is awesome, and I can talk about Kajabi in a minute. But there's something about synergy, and why not connect with people? We have experience, we have things we can share. So anybody reach out to me anytime. I might be able to help you guys. But I love what Mike is doing. Ian, Nathaniel, just awesome team. And it's like the journey I've been on has been incredible. And I think Mike even alluded to it. They have an idea of what they're building, but they're not sure. And that was us at Kajabi. We had an idea of what to build, but we had no idea it would become such a movement. If you're familiar with Kajabi, we have helped customers make, and I'm spitballing here because I only see it. I exited in 2018. I think customers have made $6 billion from our little idea. And we started just like these guys, myself and Kenny and one programmer. We had this idea to sell content online through a membership and a course. And nobody had done it back then. We just saw this thing. Like I was always into learning things, which we're all doing right now about AI. But back in the early 2000s, it was about internet marketing. It was about SEO. It was about making money on eBay. It was about how to write good web copy, how to make videos. And I followed that space very closely. And every time they had a new product, they always, in fact, I found these before the call, they would ship out little DVDs like this. This is Frank Kern's Mass Control right here. And back then, something like this would come in a big box. It would be $2,000. It would be an entire course on how to do SEO and content. And you'd pay all this money and you'd ship this box, and it was this cool experience. But I thought, there's got to be an easier way. It should be all online. And back then, YouTube was starting out. People were using WordPress. I think our main competitor when we started was WordPress. And we realized how hard it is to install a plugin and connect a theme. And I think the best businesses, and we all know this as entrepreneurs, are when you're solving a problem. And when you can solve a problem efficiently and make it easy, you open it to a whole new market of people that never thought about, wow, I could do this in my business. And that's what happened at Kajabi. In fact, that first year launching in 2010, first of all, launching is very difficult. The Pickaxe guys know how hard it is to try to get something from 0 to 1 and 0 to 1 million and then 0 to, I think Kajabi now is worth over $2 billion. I mean, and we were bootstrap startup all the way. And it really comes down to customer. And we made this tool that was so easy to use that it opened it to a bunch of people. So after that difficult launch in the fall of 2010, we ran a survey of customers like, how are you using Kajabi? And I thought it was going to be like, how to market online, how to sell on eBay. And it was some of that, but a lot of it was normal people teaching things about their life, like how to do calligraphy, how to fly a helicopter, how to become a fireman, how to do crochet, how to become a blacksmith. And that's when I realized it was a movement. And sometimes I think as entrepreneurs, the movement comes after the idea, and you got to be open to that. And the number one way you do that is customer success. You focus on what the customer needs. You stay true to your vision. In fact, us as entrepreneurs, I feel like we're aiming for a target. Like a good employee looks at the target and hits bullseyes. An entrepreneur, especially a startup entrepreneur, is aiming at an invisible target that they're trying to create on the fly while surviving. And sometimes the arrow is already in the air. And that's what it is when you build a startup. You literally are like, throw the dart and like, okay, what is this thing going to hit? And it really is like the entrepreneur has the vision, and then the customers kind of tell it where the target is. And you guys are on it right now. That's why I love your tool. I'm excited too that you reached out in me. Like Mike was really smart in the whole team to realize, wait, the Kajabi world could actually do really well with these chat GPTs. And I was already on this mission, like a lot of us, trying to figure out AI and all the cool stuff. And when I saw what they were building, I was like, oh my God, this is the perfect next evolution of selling knowledge. And that's what Kajabi was. We called them knowledge entrepreneurs. And in a call once, Mike said the same thing.
About that, for a moment, Travis. And by the way, if anyone has any questions, drop them in the chat. We'll get to them when we can. You're talking about hitting an invisible bullseye. Is what I think a lot of people probably in this webinar are trying to do. Because it's not normal to sell like a niche area of knowledge that no one has tried to buy before. And it's not normal to try to sell it with AI through Pickaxe. So when you were starting Kajabi, you came up with this word knowledge entrepreneur.
Yeah.
It didn't exist before. So tell us a little bit about that and like how you kind of came up with it.
Yeah, we read a book about defining your own channel, and I cannot remember the name of the book right now or the author. Probably someone watching this will remember it. And it really is about the best way to succeed is not only get in a good channel, but what if you can define your own channel? And we accidentally did that. And we had no idea what our customers are. Someone reached out to me recently on LinkedIn and said, man, you're one of the founding fathers of the creator economy. And I guess we were. We had no idea that was happening. We didn't know how to define what they were. We used to call them authors and experts. I thought that's every one of our customers already had to be an author or an expert. But then I realized that everybody is an author or an expert. And that's why when I exited in 2018, I wrote this book. It's right behind me. Here's a copy too. It's called You Inc. And it's really about my story as an entrepreneur, and then all the customer stories and how who they were and what they were good at or what they've been through became their business. And that's where the knowledge entrepreneur was born. And it's still, I don't think people even realize they're knowledge entrepreneurs. Almost everybody who's an influencer that's not an influencer about how they look is a knowledge entrepreneur, whether it's about fitness, whether it's about, DIY, whether it's about drones, hockey, you're sharing your knowledge and who you are. And that's kind of what a knowledge entrepreneur is. And we're always looking for more knowledge. I mean, you're on this call because you want to learn more about this. And then you find an influencer that's like really good at AI and you're like, oh, I want to learn more about that. And those of us that are trying to succeed in life, it's constant learning. In fact, when I used to hire, that was one of the number one tests. What do you do when you can't figure out something? And if they didn't say Google it or watch a YouTube video, we didn't hire them, because we live in a world where critical thinking and constant learning is necessary. And when you do that, this wave that's happening, especially with AI, is fun. When you jump on the wave instead of try to paddle against it or let it crash over you, it's really fun. And it's about knowledge and sharing knowledge. This is the other thing that's beautiful about knowledge, is it's one of the best ways for a human to help another human. Because when you can share, here's how I got here, or here's how I overcame that. I mean, I get goosebumps thinking about that. You're helping that person. And the beauty of what it does too is that's why it's an entrepreneur. You make money. And when you can fill up your cup first and make money, then you can help people. Like I noticed, I meet a lot of customers that are trying to save the world, which is awesome. But when you can save the world and build a business around it, you can really save the world. And That's kind of a long-winded answer at Knowledge Entrepreneur, but
well, let's
maybe
talk
it's
a
a
little bit more
primer.
about that, because I think people sometimes have narrow ideas about what is valuable knowledge to sell.
Yes.
One of the fun things talking to you, Travis, and getting to know you better was just hearing about some of the early customers of Kajabi, which
Yeah.
were, wide and varied. And maybe you could just share a couple out there examples of the type of things people sold that were actually helping the world and successful and sold a lot, because they weren't what I expected.
It's everything you can think of. It's anytime in fact, let me go into what I call the 4 Ps. Let me start with that. So because I got the cool opportunity to interview a lot of the successful Kajabi customers. At Kajabi, we call them Kajabi heroes, and that means you made $1,000 or more. And so I'd get on Zoom calls like this and hear their stories, and the stories were incredible. And I realized there was a theme. They all fit into these buckets. And I tell this story, and it's in the book because it'll help you find what kind of knowledge entrepreneur you are. And let me go through these first, and then I'll start sharing real world examples for each one of these because they're all cool and you never thought of them. The first one is the most obvious, and it's your profession. You're good at something, you're a lawyer, you're a copyright attorney, you're a tax accountant, you're a startup executive, whatever it is. That's what you're good at, and you can start sharing that, and people do it all the time, and people have books and they have courses and they have membership sites, and that's the easiest one. The next one is passion. It's something you love. It's something you pay to do usually. It's surfing, it's golfing, it's traveling. It's something you love, and that is easy to become a knowledge entrepreneur. Like I had all kinds of great examples of golf people. Like the best one of golf is there was a guy that was really good at golf, but he had no personality. So he partnered with another golfer who wasn't that good, but it was hilarious. And the two of them came together and made these golfing courses. Like it's crazy what you can monetize. And we can talk about that more and have some formulas on how you find monetization within your niche. I'll go back to profession and give examples. I feel like that's the easiest one. But passion, like I used to make a joke about flying drones, and then eventually there was someone on Kajabi that had courses on flying drones. And I don't know, we all watch YouTube, and how often do you find yourself watching YouTubes about guys making these incredible tables out of epoxy and wood, or people making miniatures of your favorite movie? It's like all the time I'm watching that, and I would easily go down a rabbit hole and join more content about this person. Or what if I want to make my own epoxy table? Then I want to go learn. And I think that's an example of passion and profession kind of blended together. And the next two are a little different. People think about problem, I think, as entrepreneurs, and we're even talking about you guys are solving a problem by what you're building. But let's say you're going through a divorce, or you're in tax debt. Like you can become a knowledge entrepreneur around those topics, and both of those topics have people that were selling knowledge. In fact, there was a guy who would help other guys text to get a date. He was called the Texting Prince, and he had a whole course on how to text someone through a dating app, how to sound cool, as the kids say, how to have the riz. And he would just help you with that. He had an entire course around that problem. There was people that would show you how to get out of tax debt, and they talked about how they used to do this for businesses, and something happened and they got stuck at home. And I think 2020, that happened to a lot of people, and this space boomed. They realized, what if I just show people how to get out of debt instead of having an office and having clients? I could just teach people this. And so that one's incredible. The last one is pain. And I hear other entrepreneurs talk about knowledge and pain. If you've overcome pain, and the best examples is like people would have like back pain, like someone threw out their back at 20 years old and thought he had to have surgery. So he went down the rabbit hole on YouTube of how to heal himself. And a lot of times you become a knowledge entrepreneur because you dive down the rabbit hole first. It's the hero's journey. And if you make it back home, the hero, it's time for you to help someone else. And that's when you become the knowledge entrepreneur. And another one is like people that were opera singers and they lost their voice, and then they would teach other singers how to, help your voice. And it's just incredible. And I love the transition of how is this going to transition to AI? Like this was the first, like, first it was books, then it was DVDs, then it was like courses on Kajabi. And now it's like, how does the knowledge entrepreneur use AI? And that's why I love that I connected with you guys, because it's exciting to see this next evolution of leveraging your knowledge and turning it into a business.
Yeah, it's very interesting to find. We have a similar story to you, but we are very early in it.
Yes.
that we are very surprised about what people are actually selling on Pickaxe often. And the Prince of Texting, there are people selling similar things to that.
Yes.
Uh,
Yes.
uh,
What is the most unique? And I'll tell my most unique. You tell me the most unique customer. I think when I met you guys for lunch, you had the one example which was pretty cool, and I don't know if there's other ones. And I'll tell you that the probably the funniest Kajabi one ever. Kind of inappropriate, but pretty funny also.
and we have a lot of interesting ones. I mean, the one that's had my attention recently is this person that made something called capybara affirmations.
Yes.
I think we shared it across like Pickaxe ecosystem, but basically it's just positive affirmation messages with cute capybaras on top, and it's made by this woman, Tanya Van Gostel, I think, and she was already doing stuff in the capybara space before. So
It's perfect.
it was a space, and then she started doing it with AI.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's also been some dating ones too. There's one for a Hinge message writer.
Yes, it's probably perfect for that. Even though eventually those apps are going to detect it and flag you, and you're not going to know. It's going to be like, this bio was written by AI.
Well, the interesting thing is it does help people with these sorts of things. Like,
Yeah.
I made a Shakespeare translator one. This is just one I made. I was an English major way back in the day. I like Shakespeare a lot. This thing's been used over like 1 million times. And I get emails from people. And to me, it was not a big deal to make it, but I get emails from people like thanking me. They're like helping me get through high school or get through a class, or now they love Shakespeare. Yeah. And it's interesting the impact you can have on people's lives with the internet, and you don't even know it.
Yeah. You know, I've watched some of your videos, especially some of your old Pickaxe videos, and I've learned a lot about prompt engineering and the way you can prep it that I just hadn't thought of. So it's exciting as technology grows, as what you guys are building grows, because I use ChatGPT all the time. I use the phone versions, and I call her. I talk to her, and then I have my desktop version here to keep track. And it's like, it's allowed me to think through thoughts I've had in my head forever. And I just talk to her about this idea, whether it's a spiritual idea or an entrepreneurial idea. And sometimes I have to say, like, you're totally off the rails here. This makes no sense, or this is straight out of a textbook. Like, talk to me like a real expert. And it's exciting to see what's coming next, and how it crosses over to this. But
so what's your craziest story of what people are selling?
I think some of the coolest ones were ones you just never thought of, like something called horse ballet. Have you ever even heard of that? Horse ballet is a whole thing. Go on YouTube. You can watch it. It's actually pretty cool. And a lady had a course. She made 6 figures teaching horse ballet. Another one was like the Irish drum, and it has a name. It has like a traditional name, and that one was really popular. But the weirdest and most funniest one, if you've ever read the book Think and Grow Rich, there was a lady, and I think her fiance, they created Strip and Grow Rich. And she was a stripper that was teaching you how to be a good business person as an entertainer or a dancer. And I never had a chance to interview her, but we did check out her site, and it was very respectable. It wasn't what you thought. It was like how to manage your money, how to present yourself, and just like, I was like, this is awesome. The fact that people are sharing stuff. The other cool one, and I think I've told you guys this one, is like the Excel world. Like being good at Excel is awesome, obviously. And there was a guy that I interviewed, and he would teach you how to run formulas and how to be good at your job with Excel, and quit his boring cubicle job. And recently I was watching ESPN, and it was like late at night, and I'm flipping through, and it's like an esports thing. And it was the Excel games, and they're in Vegas in one of those cool esports arenas. And it's literally an Excel competition where they have a formula they have to run in a certain amount of time. And they're running it like as if you're watching a real, like sports thing. And the host is this Kajabi customer. He's on ESPN as the host. And I'm like, holy crap. He went from being in a cubicle, getting good at something, trying to do a blog, and got frustrated, found Kajabi, monetized, made well over $200,000 doing this. And now he's on ESPN. Like, how cool is that?
I watched some videos of Excel athletics, whatever the sport would be called.
Yeah. The Excel challenge. I don't even know. They're into it though. And they start celebrating. I'm like, how did he win? Like, how is he done?
There's no way I would make the varsity or even JV team of that. I'm very slow in those things.
Yeah. Yes.
Now it's very interesting. So all these are people talking over video, explaining their course. So they use kind of a course structure that I'm sure you help them find.
Yep.
AI is interesting because it creates this more dynamic mode of teaching that's flexible. So my experience with the Excel teaching chatbot is different than yours, which is different than Ian's, which is an interesting thing. And we have people using chatbots to coach people through very weird situations or all over the place. Like we have customers that have chatbots to help you have difficult conversations at work, to ask for a raise, stuff like that kind of. And I use them and they're pretty interesting. It was like indeed helpful to use this bot, and I would never realize that it was something I needed to learn. And what I'm curious about, Travis, is so you talked about the 4 Ps of knowledge entrepreneurs, and you wrote this book, You Inc., which I put in the chat if anyone is interested, all about helping people discover what they have that is valuable. So I'm very curious how people can find this out about themselves and how they can convince themselves it's worthwhile for sharing. And then after they do, like, how can they actually extract the information? Like, let's say I know a lot about horse ballet. I've never thought about teaching it. How can I actually extract the information?
Yes. Let me go through a couple exercises, but let me say something about AI and how when AI is guided as a tool, it's powerful. And AI gets a bad name because when you just say, write me an article about this, it's crap, right? But when you, like, your Shakespeare story is beautiful. And then obviously all the tools that can be done with data analysis and Excel is incredible. And I think that's where the magic is, where you can take your little knowledge and inject it into a GPT that does things. And I don't know, it's super exciting. So I'm excited we're talking more. I'm excited about, like, later as we talk about some other projects that we're going to do together with some customers. That's going to be really cool. So this is how you do it. First of all, you're probably taking your knowledge for granted and you're not even noticing it, when our knowledge is our biggest asset. It is our 401k, especially as we get older. We have so much knowledge. And I used to see this when we were first building Kajabi. My kids were into Fortnite, like almost all kids, right? But this was 14 years ago. And of course, Fortnite didn't come out at that time. So whenever it came out, I remember the analogy of watching my kids play Fortnite, and my older son would do something, and then my younger son would yell, "Hey, Kyle, how did you do that?" And he's like, "Just do this and this." And then he's like, "Oh, awesome." And it's like, that's knowledge, right? When you can help someone get to the next mile marker because you're ahead of them a little bit, or maybe you're behind them, but you've struggled, and you can look at what they're doing and give them knowledge. That's all people are looking for. And here's some ways you can find it. There's this chart that I learned about after I wrote the book called Ikigai, and it's the Japanese form of finding purpose. So go Google that. But in my book, I have a diagram. It's a very simple version of it. And it's really, and I'm trying to remember it from memory, so I'm probably going to botch it because I haven't looked at this diagram forever. But it's basically 3 circles, and you know where they intersect in the middle. I forgot what that diagram's called. It's like, it's a very common diagram that we use in analysis all the time, the 3 circles that intersect in the middle. And it's like, basically, it's like, what are you good at is one of the circles. You know, what do you love, and who do you serve? And when those things crisscross in the middle, that's when you find your magic. When you can find, I'm good at Excel and I love it and it feels good when I work on it, okay? And then I know these people need it, then you're set. You're on your way to that. Now that sounds easier easier thought of than actually executed on. And here's some ways you can execute on it. Okay. It goes back to P's. I don't know why I love P's so much. I guess since I was a marketing major and there's the 4 P's of marketing, but it's like P's always come up for me. So here's what it is. The first thing is there a product you can create? And I'm going to give some examples of very unique products on Kajabi that you had no idea were products. But first one is product. And then I'll tell the example in a second. The next one is people. Are there people that would want this thing? Like, would they want this? Would this help them? And then the next thing is, are they going to pay money for this? And the answer is, if it's a product and they want it, probably going to pay for it. You may have to adjust your niche. Now, this is important because we all think we're supposed to go after, the blue ocean or the red ocean, which means, there's a bunch of competitors, or this is obvious versus a small niche. And sometimes the small niches are the best. And so here's an example of a product that you would have no idea that anybody would want. And there was a lady who is a doodle expert. Like she's good. In fact, literally like this is me doodling. In fact, there's the 3 circles right there. I was trying to remember them earlier. She doodled in meetings all the time in corporate America. She would doodle about what they were talking about. And one day her boss walks by and goes, "What's that?" And she's like, "Well, I was trying to explain, the infrastructure flow and how shipping's coming in." And he's like, "That makes so much sense. Turn that into a PowerPoint slide and put that in the next presentation." And so she did. And then pretty soon her boss depended on it. And every week she was making these doodles, these creative doodles, almost like an infographic, explaining things.
Mm-hmm.
And pretty soon that was her job. And now she got a raise. And now she's doing something she loves. And she's like, holy crap. And so she's like, I'm going to teach other people how to do this. But it wasn't that. She taught people how to turn this into a career. She taught all the steps. And it was like she uncovered something that no one else had thought of before. I'm sure a lot of creative entrepreneurs have thought of this, but here's someone that all of a sudden is going from a boring job to doing something they love and making money. And that's the key, is when you can share your knowledge with a group that wants it and improves their life where they make money, those are the best. I mean, in marketing, we're like save time, convenience or safety. There's all these factors. The most powerful factor is save or make money. And make money is way more powerful than save, unfortunately. So it's really about that. Another good one is a lady who was good at pet photography. So she had a pet photography business, taking pictures of her pets. And so what do you think she would do? I'm going to make a course about pet photography. Well, wrong. That's not what she did. She taught you how to start a pet photography business. And I was like, that's genius, because she obviously taught you about how to take the photos, lighting, how to keep the pet happy. But she also talked about marketing and customers and how to turn that love of taking photos of pets into a business. And that's where the real power is, like making more money. Like some of these tools are going to help you be better at your job and you're going to start making more money, or this tool might help you start a business or whatever it is. But that's the sweet spot I always go for. That's where I always, in fact, if we were to go out for lunch or cocktails, I would talk to you and this would come up, because I'm really good at squeezing the juice out of you. And you're like, holy shit, I never thought of that before. And I do it all the time. And I get texts from people later. Like I get texts from Kajabi customers that, since Kajabi has been around for 14 years, they're like, I'm a millionaire because I listened to the advice you gave me. And I'm like, that's pretty cool. That's powerful.
Mm-hmm. And as a general rule of thumb, any online business that has to do with animals is always a good idea.
Always a good idea.
Proven it over and over.
It's literally like you said, the capybara thing. I had never even thought about that. Even at lunch, you had to remind me what that was. I was like, oh, of course I know what that is. Mm-hmm. It's that cool looking rodent animal thing, right?
It has a certain virality factor.
People love them. I kind of like him. I saw him. I was like, oh, he's so cute.
Well, I'd love
him in my backyard. I'd be scared.
I want to ask, but one thing quickly is, once you have your knowledge, your special gift that you're selling, the you that you're selling,
yes,
whether it's through AI, which we'll get into a little bit later, or through video courses, how do you actually market that effectively? What do you think works for people?
Yeah, I mean, we're so deep into it now. 14 years ago, this was very novel. How do I market this? And back then, there was a little bit of YouTube, definitely. And a lot of these people became popular at YouTube. They did a lot of events and they were authors. They wrote books. Now, anybody can, and everybody is an expert. That's why U Inc. is beautiful, because we're all experts at being ourselves. And when you embrace who you are and realize you can share it, because most people cannot find their knowledge business because they are ignoring their gifts, or it's just normal. It's like, oh, this is normal. Like, this is just easy, right? Why would I share that? This is normal. Until a friend goes, how did you make that cake? Wait, holy shit. How did you clean your gutters like that? Like, there's so many things. And so the thing is just sharing your story, and social media makes it so easy. The virality of things like TikTok now, and any YouTube. I think YouTube is still the hub. I feel like YouTube is now our network television. It's kind of the place to go,
Mm-hmm.
So you need to be on there talking candidly and sharing, literally sharing help, free. That's the other thing too, is back then it was hard to realize give everything away for free. I'm sorry. That's just how it is. All your good stuff should be free. Nothing should be hidden behind a paywall. I hear the younger entrepreneurs there's no gatekeeping here, because that was a way to do it, was have an opt-in or have whatever, but give everything away for free, because we buy a course, we buy membership. We definitely, GPTs are incredible because you need them. You physically need them to have access, but if I read a book or I see a video series, I want to buy the course because I fall in love with the person. Like, I'm like, that person's cool. I want to hear more. I want to hear more of a curated experience. Like, maybe the content's exactly the same, but being able to grab more nuggets and more knowledge is important. So share everything right now. In fact, if you're small, not many people are watching anyway. So just share it. And the other thing too is content evolves through feedback. Like, having a live audience helps. Having a Q&A helps. I think I was telling you the story about, there was entrepreneurs. In fact, this entrepreneur, Frank Kern, would sell things on Kajabi and he hadn't made the content yet. And so like, he would sell it and it'd be like, all right, you've got until September 15th to buy it. And then September 21st is when he would release the first part of the course. And he wouldn't make the content until September 16th, because he would interview every single customer through surveys and get to know what they wanted specifically. So you knew it was going to be about, writing good content for conversion on a landing page. You knew that. But then he would ask you a bunch of questions and then he would create content. And it was always a home run because people are like, oh my God, this is exactly what I wanted, obviously. And it's like, start doing that with social media. Like, you could even do your first couple as fake Q&A. Just take some questions that you think people would ask around your topic and answer them. And my wife does a good job. She does like women's empowerment coaching. She's so good on TikTok of replying to every comment with a video. And that's how you start the conversation. It's also how you find your message, how you find your gift, is just start sharing. Because sometimes these knowledge entrepreneurs have hidden targets also, just like we talked about earlier. You don't even know yet what your true impact is. That's why it's important to study things like the Ikigai chart and really find the whole picture of yourself. Like, what are you good at? What are your pain points? What are your struggles? And I always say that, like, if you want to be a successful entrepreneur, you have to love two people. And the first one is the you see in the mirror. Like, I need to look in the mirror and love Travis. And then I need to love you, Mike, and everyone on the call. Like, when you can feel that love, that's when magic starts happening. You're like, wow, I love sketching. I love Excel, and be okay with it and be brave, because there are some people too that wouldn't execute because like, well, who wants this? Who's going to want this? That's why social media helps, because you're going to get that feedback. So
Now you're bringing up some very interesting points, Travis, and I'm going to attempt what you do, and I'm going to try to pull out some knowledge from you.
Okay.
Expertise that you have that you might not be aware of. Now, you are basically advocating for this entirely digital strategy, which is totally the right move, I think. And it's interesting because I think people forget that the online, like selling stuff online, like the digital economy is pretty young. People have only really been selling things for a little over 20 years, whereas the real world economy has been around for thousands of years. And it's incredibly complex and all sorts of services are offered. So I think it's very important for people to remember that most of the things that can be sold or provided over the internet possibly are not provided there yet. Which is, and Kajabi was a big part of letting people provide all sorts of new services.
Yep.
So here at Pickaxe, we kind of say that our mission is to increase the GDP of solopreneurs online, of small businesses online, of knowledge entrepreneurs. We want to create some more rails for people to sell goods, new types of goods, AI-based goods online, and make money with it. So I'm curious, without making this at all about Pickaxe or Pickaxe-centric, how you think the next 10 years of selling knowledge online will go. How is AI likely to affect this space?
Yeah, I think some people are afraid of it, like I said earlier. And it really is about the wave is going, so get on your surfboard and ride the wave. But what's awesome about being a knowledge entrepreneur is you have a digital product that you can create, which I love it. It's another vertical, it's another SKU. And a course is great, but having something that you actually need, like, it's almost like the app store, I've got my Angry Birds or whatever it is, like, and I download it and now I have it. And what you guys are building gives a knowledge entrepreneur an opportunity to build a true digital asset that really helps people. And I can see the two working together so well to where maybe you're making all these GPTs. Let's say you're doing it for dating or whatever, or let's say you were doing it for how to get a job and how to interact with that instead of dating, like the dating world of trying to get a job, right? I could see courses and content going so well with that. And I think that's the part that needs to stay, is put a face to this this wave that's happening, because AI cannot replace us as humans. In fact, the best outputs I've ever gotten from AI is when I'm guiding it, when I as a human is guiding it. And I think that's the real evolution is, and a lot of people have said this, it's like AI is the tractor. We're coming out of having to plow the field by hand and then with an ox, and now we've got a tractor, and then eventually the tractor is going to be completely autonomous. And I think it's just going to allow us to be entrepreneurs in a whole new way. And I think some jobs are going to get so much easier. Some people are going to be able to get into jobs they never thought they could get into. People are going to have skill sets they just didn't have, which is going to give creativity to people that were literally handicapped before that, where it's almost like they've been in a wheelchair and now they can run a marathon because they can write, or they can create. And that creativity is going to create new industries. It's going to create new verticals. It's going to create new businesses. And it's fun to be on this wave, and especially if you don't crash against it. Like, I'm always watching the surfing videos on YouTube and those giant ones and how they get destroyed. I mean, there's an opportunity to be on this wave at whatever level you want. You don't have to be on the giant wave, which is like you guys building a tool in the space. You can learn the space. You can observe the space. You can have it be a tool for yourself. And then I think the real magic and what you guys are at the beginning of is building a tangible digital product, like a tool. And that's kind of like when you contacted me, I was literally looking for something exactly like this. I had considered building what you guys were building also, because when I saw ChatGPT talk about, selling prompts, it was like, oh, that was kind of like, meh. And then what you guys built was like, okay, this is the next evolution where an entrepreneur, a real critical thinker can build this rocket or this missile that anybody can go and deploy on their business or their life.
Yeah. It's really interesting to get your head spinning to think about how you can mimic or recreate valuable parts of your personality through GPTs.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess something that if anyone on this call has been on a individual call with us, they probably heard us say is that it is great for anybody with an expertise or a framework, some piece of knowledge that perhaps needs to be a little bit more flexible.
Yes.
As opposed to, we're coming out of a dynamic where people used static content. They would consume blog posts, ebooks, videos, where this is dynamic content. So it's 80% the same for everybody, but it is able to adjust itself in real time for different use cases. So we have tons of people who are helping, like, give advice to small business, to other businesses, right? Some sort of consulting. And it's really perfect for this because they got their framework and it's pretty much the same. The only thing that's different is the inputs that are changing, right?
Yeah.
With AI, it's able to do that very quickly.
Yeah.
I'm curious if you've had any great experiences of AI, Travis, or like what were some key experiences that changed how you thought of it and what's possible with it?
Well, I think the Midjourney thing was pretty incredible. When we first were seeing that was like mind blowing. I mean, I spent hours making the most random Darth Vader playing hockey, images, and I think I'm so excited about the creativity. That's awesome. And like I said earlier, I've been able to think through thoughts that have been in my head, like ideas for books, where me and ChatGPT just start talking about a topic, and then I'll ask it questions like, analyze this from the perspective of Steve Jobs or whatever. Okay, cool. Make an outline based on that. Like, and sometimes it's way wrong, and sometimes it's completely taking you off the rails and you don't know it. So it's a little early, but it has given me ideas where I think there's some book ideas that I want to write. Like one of them is I've had this idea for like a kid's book, and I don't know if you know this, but like wolves and I think it's crows, wolves and crows, especially in the Pacific Northwest, become allies. And so like it's really they work together, they like hunt together. And I was like, that would make a great kid's story, right? And so I've started the process of me and ChatGPT are brainstorming we're workshopping this idea. And someone who has had dyslexia and struggled with writing in school, it's like, holy crap, I feel like someone just, put the hearing aid, someone that couldn't hear, like it has opened whole new doors here. And that is mind blowing. That is, like I said, going to give to, I don't want to say inventions, but just new stuff is going to happen because there's people that were on the sidelines either out of fear or a real, I couldn't do this, that AI now allows you to do this. I think this is, and we talked about, you were talking about static web and then dynamic web, web 2, web 1. Is this the true web 3? I know that crypto kind of got that stamp, and crypto is important, and blockchain is powerful. I think NFTs is what QR codes were, 10 years ago. It's going to be powerful in all contracts and all transactions. But I feel like AI and this push is the true web 3. And it's going to evolve. I don't think chat is the best application for it. I think there's a better way to do it. I think chat is great, but how often have you used chat GPT and then you get overwhelmed? You're like, where was that? Oh my God, it's way back here, or it's in this other one. I'm excited to see that evolution. And I know you and I and Ian and Nathaniel, we talk about this all the time. Like, what is the next evolution? And I love that. I'm at the age where I got to ride the wave of, the first computer, to like getting my first little Mac, the little square, to the first dial-up internet, to the iPhone. It's been so fun to live right now. I know our world's a little messed up and it's a little gnarly right now, but there's also things that are so exciting, and this is one of them. This is like, I don't know, it's incredible. This next, I want to say decade, but I want to say like the next 2 years.
Yeah.
So fast.
Well, if you're in this webinar today, you're still among the early adopters.
Yes, that's very true.
A good point, which is, a lot of people call the tools on Pickaxe chatbots, and indeed many of them are, but it is an arbitrary decision or just a coincidence that the first form that AI has taken has been conversational.
Yeah.
It's what people feel comfortable with.
Yeah.
It's kind of a lot of customers like to give AI these like human personalities where that's just, it's just a choice. Where, something we're thinking about a lot is in the future. And it's one of the reasons we provide a form-based Pickaxe too, which is still text, but it's specifically not conversational, right? It's just one and done. But it's something that we think a lot about, just different ways that we can in the future provide AI that'll be a little bit different. Now I'll invite anybody here to like start dropping questions in the chat. I don't know if anybody has, I haven't really looked. And I wanted to ask Travis, on the topic of like AI increasing the space for small business and stuff, whether you see any other like what sort of things were people doing on Kajabi? Like maybe what were the growth points in Kajabi? Like at first it was one type of person. Was there like a big wave when a new type of people started to come in and sell a lot on Kajabi?
Well, I think as the influencer world grew and Instagram and YouTube grew, we saw a lot of that, and it was like, because I used influencer marketing to get my first customers, and we didn't know what that was back then. But yeah, that obviously was a growth. But I think the coolest transition that we saw was traditional business using Kajabi, like people that would provide funding for startups would then make an academy on Kajabi, or someone that like, was trying to train their sales team in insurance would make a membership site for their whole nationwide team on Kajabi. And I think that's what you guys are going to see. You're going to see small businesses, especially services businesses, adopt this, whether it's attorneys or living trust or accountants, travel. Every single service could build a, chatbot agent, tool over on Pickaxe and monetize it, and either do it for the market value so that you have customers, or because it's a new channel. Like I love what you guys are doing because I'm a subscription nerd. I love it. It's the best business model ever. I think about the obvious ones like Netflix, but like how much do you think Costco makes every year in membership alone? It's
a lot.
$4 billion. $4 billion. And how much overhead is for that membership? Nothing really. There is, but and a huge chunk of them may never show up, and we talk about this in the SaaS world too, the percentage that we would track that never even logged into Kajabi, and when you can build a subscription that has value, you can scale and there's no more cost. I mean, there is cost on the back end, but it's still pennies, and eventually as you grow in more tiers, you got to pay you guys more. But as an entrepreneur, when I have like a great tool that has value, and how much do you pay your accountant for stuff, Like I even have a thing now where I pay my doctor a concierge service to get in earlier, and I pay him, I don't know what it is, like $100 something a month, right? But like he could build a tool that has things where I can ask it nutrition questions, or I can ask, obviously with disclaimers, because he doesn't want to get in trouble if GPT like makes a dumb answer, but it's more subscription value for him, right? My attorney, the same thing. My accountant could build tools that would have value to me if I had a quick question. And this is more in the chatbot realm, but what if I wanted to upload a spreadsheet or upload something, and then he built a tool that analyzes it for me and then gives me results or feedback. And for an extra $2.99 a month, I get that. Like, the subscription model should be in every single business.
Yeah,
I had an idea.
only available to like big businesses before, but
It totally is. It's
and like what we're trying to do is like the ability to just charge people every month is really powerful.
And people think small, like, and this is something I talk to you guys about. Like, you look at the Patreon world and it's $7 to get, whatever it is to the Patreon. Like, and that may be true in the entertainment world, but in the services world, in like the even self-help too, people pay $99 a month. People will pay $200 a month for access to your GPTs, and maybe access to like, more content, whatever it is. But there is that value, especially when you're trying to learn, like you were saying, the Shakespeare thing. Let's say you were starting to become an author and you love this tool so much. And then Mike, with your film background, you have a whole bunch of other things you have to do, like write your own screenplay. Like, you can build a brand around these topics, especially if you love it and you have proof that you can help people. And it's such a perfect evolution. Like, it was fate that you reached out to me, because it really is the next evolution of this. It's the courses are great, but I think courses are kind of played out too. It's more on demand. It's more, a la carte, not like watch a 50 video course. It's like watch a 5-minute video and then download this GPT to be your companion, your wingman.
It is a totally new space.
Totally. Everything's bite-sized now, which is good. We all
there's
have
still a lot to do in it. There's still, we're working all the time to improve this. If you're not already in our community forum, I encourage you to get in there and talk to us or send us emails, these sorts of things. And for the last portion of this conversation, I just kind of wanted to talk about what's in the future, what's in store. Because these GPTs are very powerful, very useful. They're great ways to replicate parts of your services. But obviously, if you want to provide truly parts of your service and integrate it with your business, it needs to be able to do more than just chat. We've been talking about the limits of a conversational format, which is why this the next big feature push we'll be pushing out is what we call actions, and the ability to connect these things to APIs. And the way to think about this is you can give it connection to different parts of the internet, API endpoints, and give it an explanation of when to use this and how to use it. Now your Pickaxe, your chatbot, can start pushing buttons to do things elsewhere on the internet. Send emails to places, grab the price of stock tickers, connect to make.com, and these sorts of things. Now, this is also very experimental. Like, maybe some of you have used this beta test that we've rolled out to a couple people, but in the next couple weeks, we'll be releasing a new feature that is much easier to use and lets people actually connect to all sorts of APIs.
That's all. I'm excited about this. Like, this is something I've wanted, so I'm really excited because
it's because a lot of conversations of you, Travis,
Yeah.
so we're releasing this.
Well, and go ahead, keep going.
Well, I was going to say, and to sweeten the deal, one thing that we want to do, because we view everybody in this webinar and on the platform as partners. We are kind of exploring this space together. I've said it before, I'll say it again. We are early adopters of this technology. And a great privilege of that is we get to kind of establish how it'll work and design it together. So as part of this is we are going to work with some customers in depth to kind of help figure out what their gift is, a la Inc. What are going through the 4 Ps? What do they have that's worth selling, that's valuable to other people? And we're going to help them sort of set up a studio, create pickaxes, and even connect them to other API endpoints. Now, this is not a thing that we can offer to everybody, but we're just kind of announcing it today, and we'll have a lot more details in a couple weeks. In the chat, I'll drop this little sign up link, and I'll share my screen quickly so you can see it. It's nothing crazy. It's just a place where you can give us your email and your name. And we'll be working with some of you to help connect these things and create awesome businesses that can be this is for the industry.
Well, and I want to talk about that part. Like, part of this is I'm helping with this. Like, I'm really excited. I don't know if we disclose this, but I'm also an advisor with you guys. So I'm sort of on the team. Like, I believe in it so much that, you know, I'm one of the angel investors. So I'm excited about that too. But I'll be part of this process. So this cohort of customers, I don't know if we've identified the group, how big it will be. It will be very limited, but you'll get a chance to talk with me. I'll help you do exactly what we just did. I'll ask you questions about your business. We'll find that niche, the opportunity, and where the people, the product, and the profit is in your business. And then with Mike and the team, they'll build this out, your studio, to where it'll work, you know, and we want these success stories. So this is win-win for us. We want you to succeed. And obviously it's an opportunity for us to grow and expand. And I get excited because I love these stories. Like, this is literally like, I love sports, but this is my sport too. Like, I love when I can help someone realize this thing that they're good at, or the thing they overcame, can become a business and help other people. And I'm excited because you guys got to understand the power of what Mike just said, the APIs. Some of us might not know what APIs are, but it's the ability to call another service. That means go search LinkedIn and find this for me, and then help me build this tweet. You've seen these services before. You could literally build, and I don't want to talk to outside of like too advanced, but you could build a service that does things where it takes an Excel file and then goes and does something and then gives you results, or like you said, sends an email, or there's so many ways we could do this. And at first it's very experimental because your customers might be like, what the heck is this? And the beauty of what Pickaxe is very similar to Kajabi is, you know, it's called a studio, but it's like your storefront. You build these digital products, you set a price point, and customers start paying you, and you can keep adding products to it too, which is part of the allure for your customers in whatever niche you're in. So it's
Totally.
gonna be fun.
APIs, I'll try to be a little less technical for a moment. So APIs are what let different parts of the internet talk to each other.
That's right.
We are in stage 1 of AI, which is these chatbots that are kind of stuck in a box and you talk to them. And that's great for many reasons. The stage 2 will involve letting the AI, chatbots, tools, whatever you want to call them, start using other parts of the internet with some level of autonomy, letting them make decisions.
Yep.
You hear a lot of words for this. Some people call it action. Some people call it agents, agentic workflows. But really all it is just giving them a little bit more power to do things. So we're really excited to kind of release stage 2 of our product and make it really useful. And hopefully one thing has been clear, or one thing I know has been clear in this call, is that Travis is a lot cooler to talk to. He's the guy that you want to talk to figure out what your product is. And here at Pickaxe in our white-walled office, we're good at building stuff. So the really cool thing about this is you'll be able to hang out with Travis, who has a high hang factor, and really, you know, dig into what you have that's valuable to sell.
Yeah. Well, and
go ahead.
And it's so cutting edge that you'll have the Pickaxe guys to ask questions, and you're going to help evolve this market with us. That's why I'm excited. I want to see where this is going to go, because we're going to create this invisible target, and let's see who hits the target. And yeah, there may be untapped opportunities in your business. You have no idea, and I'll help you find that. And then these guys will help build the studio to monetize that. And so I'm excited. I know it's coming soon. The offer is still being worked on. And also, like I said, it's got to be a small group because we're working directly with you. So make sure you sign up and get on this list. And I would not hesitate to get on it because I know it'll be worth it. At Kajabi, we always did this where we had special offers. And one of the things we did in 2015 is we had a thing called Founders, and we had rewritten the app, and we said everybody that signs up gets this special price, and we called them Founders. And some of them 9 years later are still customers, and they're still proud that they were those customers. So this is one of those opportunities to get in a very exclusive group. And I think you're going to learn from other people. You're not just going to learn from us. I think other entrepreneurs are going to start being accountable to each other, or almost like study partners in a way where it's like, come with me on this journey and help me build tools for my accounting firm. And then come help me with my, movie studio, whatever it is. Like I think everything we can help you find a way to improve your business. So
we're all kind of exploring this together.
Yep.
And that's the whole ethos of Pickaxe, is that we're pioneers. We're all creating tools to participate in this big way.
The only thing I was good at in Minecraft was grabbing the pickaxe and mining. So I love the brand. It's perfect.
Yeah, well, I want to thank everybody for coming, and not just as a cliche, thank you for coming, but honestly, thank you for coming to Pickaxe and building businesses here. Because really, again, just to hit the point home, we are all kind of doing this together. So every additional person on Pickaxe building a business, figuring this out, marketing it, sharing their insights is valuable and brings a lot of value back to the community. So thank you so much, everybody, for coming. That's pretty much all we had for today. We'll probably do another webinar with the official announcement and release of this in a couple weeks, so I would look out for that. And as Travis said, feel free to reach out to him or me or post in the community forum. Travis is just a really generous, awesome person, really smart, and has a real passion. The biggest passion I've seen for helping people start businesses online. He's just an awesome guy, and I'm thankful that we met him.
Thank you. I'm glad I met you guys. Yeah, be bold. Reach out. You never know what kind of new friendships and relationships can start. So I'm excited to be part of this. I can't wait to meet all of you that decide to join. It's going to be fun.
Cool.
Yeah, and I'd also like to add one thing. In the future, as these things become more regular, these webinars, we want to, use this as an opportunity to spotlight members of the community. So in the future, as like these businesses grow, as community grows, like, you could be the one up here talking about your business, and it's a group effort, as we've said.
Yeah.
I love that. That's so exciting. I literally wrote a whole book about customer success, and it really is. That's what I love about Pickaxe guys too, is that's their focus. These are not your typical startup Silicon Valley. These are like guys that have huge passion and care. And I bring that same thing. I care. And the stories are the best part. Like the success stories, the unique stories. It's the best part of all this.
Cool. Well, without further ado, I'm going to end the webinar. So thanks so much for coming, everybody.